Sheffield Wednesday 5-minute view from the Kop, but not from the Kop. A little bit of a later view of things as they stand after the doubleheader with Stoke and the matches against Accrington and Oldham, the meltdown that followed. So I'm currently sunnying it in Greece, in Crete, and been looking into what's been happening as much as anybody. I've been watching the matches online, which has been great, and obviously I've already done a post about the Stoke double header. I thought that we did okay. Obviously lost. We didn't lose 6-0. It was two matches. We lost 2-0 and 4-0. Just a bit of a recap on that. So in that first match, we had a semblance of probably a better side. Defensive mistakes cost us, but I think we put up a decent fight, and it was nice to see a few starring roles coming from some of the new players, which was really good. And then the second match, we had the kids out, and they took a bit of a battering from very, very poor defensive mistakes, awful defensive mistakes. But they're gonna learn from that. And then we decided, for some reason, to have another double day with a little bit more of a break, where we were playing Accrington and then we were playing Oldham sort of a little bit later. I don't really understand that, because I'd rather see matches where you're going to get the changes ringing in, but more of them to give us an opportunity to bring these players in, and hopefully we're going to see these players gel that have been coming in. Now, unfortunately, what happened with the Accrington game, I thought it was 0-0. We played very well. The defence looked good, looked very solid. We've got Truman in the net, who I thought was probably down as our third choice goalkeeper, but he looked very assured, and I thought it would be interesting to see whether he might step up a little bit, because Lumley not necessarily given us full of confidence so far. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how the three goalkeepers go. And then at the back in that Accrington game, we'd got Jan Valery coming back. His quality really just shows straight away. He's really too good for us, and you would have thought that he'd have moved on. He still may move on. It may be that he will move on, and that he was just getting a bit of fitness. Obviously been to the World Cup, but not Tunisia had not really defensively given themselves too much to do, and I think too much of a positive report coming back, because they were letting hatfuls in, so that's probably why he's not gone in that sense. Sort of, he's a player that's played in the World Cup, but he played for the team that conceded probably the most goals. I don't know. I think probably was at the time. Okay, so we've got Jan Valery, and he was looking really good. Now in the middle we got Cooper. Obviously he's been coming back from injury, and then we've got Ernie Weaver, who looked very assured before he went off injured last year, so that was good to see him back, and good to see him again, proper battler. We look very, very tight at the back, and good to see also Reece James coming to play with us again as a trialist, and I think if you're looking for somebody solid who's not going to be bombing forward and creating all those chances, then certainly as a backup, and I'm sure he'd be happy being a backup, then he would be a good player to be looking at. So we look very, very solid at the back in the Accrington game. Little bit lack of experience and such in midfield, but Oliver seems to be coming on as a player. But we'd not got the three new ones that we've been looking at before. And when it came to, so we were a little bit light up front. However, we did have Burstow in, and we did also have Gray playing. So, and Gray looks like another one of those players who likes to get the ball, likes to get it forward, likes to take on. Very, very happy to take on players. And Burstow was quite a nuisance to himself, despite the fact that he didn't really have masses and masses of opportunity. He was sort of really feeding off scraps, but I thought he did pretty well. So that was quite good. And then we had probably the more senior team going up against Oldham, but with a weaker defence, and they took full advantage of that. The first goal, we'd got the Bannon, the Slattery, and the Mitchell playing. We got Barry playing, and all of those looked good. However, a little bit slow. I thought they were a little bit slow, and Oldham were really up for it, and they pressurised us. And we've always struggled when we've been under pressure. When a team comes at us and they play under pressure, we like to think that we've got enough quality to be able to one-touch our way out of it, and we can't. So when we get that situation, we need to make sure that we're not tapping the ball around too slow. We need to make sure that we're not tip-tapping at the back, because putting us under pressure, we're going to end up losing the ball, or first and foremost, they're going to want to be tapping it around and hope that some spaces are going to appear, and they're going to end up passing the ball back to the goalkeeper, and he's going to end up welling it forward. We'll lose it. It'll just come straight back at us. So Oldham were really up for it, and they managed to push us back. The first goal was an absolute disaster. Lumley came for it, and he was overstretching. Ended up tipping it onto the head of one of their attackers, and I think he knocked it straight back across the goal, and it was just a simple tap-in. Really rubbish start, really, that one. And then after that, they scored 3 worldies, and I thought they probably grew into the game a little bit, but their XG was still less than 2 at the end of it, so they weren't expected to score 4 goals. But I think the thing about worldies is, and when I say worldies, they were just hitting it from distance, and they were bending it in and scored, and they were fantastic goals. They're probably going to be some of the best goals they'll ever score in their lives as a career. But you would expect that the likes of Mitchell would be the people that would stop people shooting from the edge of the box, and so I think we've got those kind of things to sort out. Now, would we have actually conceded those goals with the defence that was against Accrington playing instead of the defence against Oldham? I don't think so. So I think the better team is a bit of a mixture of the two, and I don't know why we didn't. I don't know why we put a lesser defence in for the. I would say they're a lesser defence. Certainly centre-back pairing I think would be a better centre-back pairing. I think Cooper is very experienced. I think Otik-Bayo can be very nervy with the person alongside him, and I think maybe Swinkles might be another player who might benefit from somebody decent alongside him, and we're still probably trying to work out as to where he'd like to be, and on his feet and such. So Max Lowe last year sort of playing in a back 3. Now we're going to a back 4. Swinkles on the left, Max Lowe on the further left. All these kind of things are going to get sorted out now. So we lost 4-0 against Oldham, and I was more disappointed in the fact that I didn't see us put out what I believed to be our best 11 for one of the games, and I think putting 2 games on in a day doesn't give you that opportunity. It just gives you we'll give them a bit of a run. We'll give them a bit of a run. I think in the best team to put out, you've got to say that Burstow's hopefully going to be in there. You're going to think that at the minute probably Cooper's going to be in there, and maybe even Weaver. you're going to think that Gray's certainly going to be either playing or starting or on the bench. Probably on the left, so probably on the bench, but having somebody like that to come on and run when they've been facing Barre for all that time, I think is going to be quite interesting. So, you know, I don't know. I don't want to point fingers and say, oh, you know, that's Pedersen's fault, so therefore it's all his fault that we lost again, and we're not conceding. We're conceding lots of goals, but we're not scoring. We're not really scoring any goals, are we? Apart from was it Port Vale beforehand? So yeah, I think that you've got to say that the meltdown that came after the match, saying, you know, Pedersen's rubbish. We gave him all last season. He was rubbish all last season. Should have been winning. There's some people thought that, you know, with the team that we had last season, we should have been turning teams over. Now, I think last season, I enjoyed watching him last season. I've always said it. We had a lot of heart. We didn't have the quality. We didn't have the depth, and we ran out of steam after 60 odd minutes, and we didn't have the players to come on to plug the gaps. You know, the culmination of all the best players in the country played at the World Cup, and you know we grasped defeat from the jaws of victory in the semi-final. So you know, it's not just Pedersen. People can make mistakes. So I think we've got to give Pedersen time. It may be that it's not going to work with him, but I think, you know, the way that a very, very vocal and probably a minority of the fan base is yelling and screaming to get another manager in, and the entitlement that they think that, you know, we've got money now, so we should have the best players, we should have the best manager, and we should be expecting we're going to be paying 10 pence for a season ticket, have beer on demand, and you know, I think we're just expecting too much, really. I think a lot of people would have said mid-table would have been great this season. I think, you know, we'd been put down as second favourites, we're Leicester favourites. Can't see why they're up there. I know they're a big team, but you know, they were rubbish last year, absolutely rubbish, and you know, so they've got a big rebuild. I think they're still saying that they've got a little bit of money coming from the parachute payments. So isn't that crazy? They're teaming in Division 3 and they've got parachute money from the Premiership. It's not an even playing field, is it, in that case, when you think about the limitations that we've been put under again, you know, because the EFL don't want to see us go straight back up. They'll see it as, well, you know, you just have a difficult time of it, you get rid of the owner, get new owners in, and suddenly you cheat your way back up, you know. So I think a few people still think that we're cheating because we're not under points deductions, despite the fact that they didn't give them 25p in the pound or wherever it were. I don't know. Don't really know the ins and outs of that, but I think we've got to be realistic. I'd like to think that we would do better than mid-table. I'd like to think we're top 10. If we're top 10, you'd like to think that we would have gone for top 6. Automatic, I think that's a lot to ask, but you just don't know. You just have to see how it goes. I don't think we're going to be automatic. Top 10 would be all right by me, and I think the Bet365 blog, I'd put us down as 7th. Be disappointed if that's just outside the top 6, but yeah, I mean, that would be quite a decent season. First season back under a rebuild from scratch. You know, you've got to think about it like that. Absolutely not good enough for some vocal Sheffield Wednesday fans. Not good enough at all. Pep needed to be in, and we needed to be signing 20 golden season strikers, at least one, if not two, because they were available, because we got the money. We haven't. You know, we've got money, but we can't spend it. We're now at the stage where we can't spend any more money. We're looking at freebies coming in, and somebody who played for us really well 15 years ago, 10 years ago, ain't going to come in and bang them in left, right and centre. You know, we're not looking to Forestry area or Conor Wickham to blast us back up. I'd be very surprised. So let's see, a little bit of patience, and let's see where that takes us. The Bolton game, I'd like to think that again we had the best team out, and that includes looking at the defence, the kind of defence that we're getting from the first game against Accrington, with Jan Valery on the right, solid mid central defence partnership. Cooper, I'd like to see in Weaver, I'd like to see in maybe Swinkles alongside Cooper instead, with the other one on the bench, maybe Max Lowe. But nice to see Reece James back, and it wouldn't bother me at all if he ended up signing and playing. And then let's see what Mitchell, Bannon and Swinkles can do. Slattery, can do in midfield, and Barry, and see what Barry's like feeding Burstow. Longola on the right, not really quite sure whether that's his best position, but I thought he did all right. Let's see what that team can do. Now, if we don't pick that team, if we again mix and match, I'm not going to be happy. I think that would be a mistake. And at what point are we going to start putting that decent team together to see if they can gel? I don't know. So let's see where we are, and I'll do another review after the Bolton match, and hopefully it's going to be better. It's going to be shutting a few people up, and we're going to be in a better position. Probably people will be disappointed if we manage to beat Bolton, I think, but that's not very good because we're all Wednesday, aren't we? And till then, see you later.